Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Help the Helpers this morning. And I've been really looking forward to this morning. And my good friend Susan McConaughey and Hanna and Adriana are going to be talking to us about um, the experience of receiving when you're giving. And Oh, many years ago, I heard Stephen Levine say giving and receiving are the same thing. And I thought about that and I said, well, it's a different feeling to give than to receive. But then I thought about petting your cat or snuggling your dog, and who's giving and who's receiving in that situation. There's such a unity, really, of giving and receiving, like breathing. You're breathing in and breathing out. And who can say, you know, I'm breathing in, I'm the breather inner,
Mhm.
you're the breather outer. I don't think it can work like that. So we're going to explore that experientially, how giving and receiving are the same thing. And I'm thinking, New York is very Christmassy now. All the stores and the music and the glitter and everybody's buying Christmas presents. And there's something that some people hate about that. And there's something that I sort of really enjoy about that, all the hustle and bustle. And I wonder about the Christmas shopping, like my own gift giving, when it's sort of obligatory and when there's a feeling of a joyful finding something that somebody will love. And then it's a feeling really of receiving as well as giving. I think it often can be a kind of exchange, and in relationships too. You give me this and I give you that. And the exchange element really brings it from a deeper experience into this linear thing where we're separate in this giver and this receiver. So anyway, we're going to hear and experience um, from these beautiful volunteers how they've received from giving. And I want to introduce Susan McConaughey. Some of you know her from our force group. We've been friends for a long time.
Long time. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Hello, good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to be invited to your group. The three of us have been talking about coming here today and what we'd like to tell you about what we have been receiving as we volunteer, or in Adriana's case, serve an internship. So I'll just briefly introduce us, and then Adriana will give you some context for the organization that we work for. Volunteer for, work for Mixteca. It's an immigrant rights organization in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. And then I'll give a little, which is called the Children's Table. And then each of the three of us will talk about how we've been reflecting on what we've received from doing this work over the last number of months. So, brief introduction. I'm a practicing psychoanalyst and retired college teacher. Adriana Arriaga is a college student of psychology at University in Mexico, here to do an internship, which she's completed now, and is going back to get her degree very soon, and we're going to miss her terribly. And Hanna is a teacher of environmental design at a middle school in Brooklyn. So all three of us are volunteering with children on Saturdays, doing arts and crafts with them as they wait for their mothers who are receiving services at that time. So we'll give you the layout. Adriana, do you want to start and give us the context of Mixteca?
Yes, thank you, Susan. And good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to share with you the work that we have been doing at Mixteca. And as Susan said, first I'm gonna start by giving you a brief introduction of what Mixteca is. And for this, I'm gonna share my screen. I think you can see it now.
Yes.
Great. So we volunteer, and in my case, I intern at Mixteca. Mixteca is a community-based organization located in Brooklyn, specifically in Sunset Park here in New York City. And it was established in 2000 by a group of concerned community members to address critical needs in health, education, social, and legal issues. In other words, we can say that Mixteca is a second home for Latino immigrants and their families to receive socio-emotional support, education, and leadership skills necessary to achieve sustainable livelihoods and thrive in New York City. A little bit about Mixteca's mission. We aim to empower the Mexican and Latin American immigrants for the New York area by providing them access to services that enhance their quality of life and will allow them to reach sustainable social and economic development. We offer a variety of programs and services that respond to the specific needs of immigrant families and aim to build a supportive environment for the growing Mexican and Latin American immigrant community. It is important to say that all of the services that we offer at Mixteca are free. And these are the four main pillars of Mixteca. First, we have mental health services. We serve and teach others about appropriate communication and management techniques, especially in families that have experienced domestic gender-based violence. So here we offer, for example, individual counseling sessions and workshops that foster mental health. Secondly, we have the physical health pillar. We provide culturally informed services that promote public health through educational programs and preventative efforts. We also have the education and skill building pillar. We provide English as a second language literacy and computer classes. We increase income generation capacity by promoting entrepreneurship, and also, we offer skills-based training for finding and maintaining desirable job and supplementing income. Finally, we have our fourth pillar. This is immigrant
Mhm.
justice and advocacy. We develop abilities and strategies to advocate for social justice. We also facilitate referrals to legal services, and we address the negative effects of isolation by bringing people together, offering practical support, and promoting community. So in Mixteca, the immigrant community can find a safe space right now, and we help them with services of all kinds, as you see, and all of these services are completely free. So this way we can empower the immigrant community of New York City. So this was the context of the place that we have our children's group, and now Susan is gonna take a deep dive into what the workshop is about.
Thank you, Adriana. That's
Thank
so
you.
so beautifully done.
Thank you.
Uh, So the project that we are working on is called the Children's Table, and it's literally a table that's set up in the waiting area of the Mixteca office where the children sit and wait for their moms to get services. One of the key services offered in that mental health pillar is a group on Saturday afternoons run by a social worker, Narcisa Losa, for women who are struggling with domestic violence, as partner violence, as Adriana said, and also with issues of insecure housing and insecure income, struggling with the trauma that their own children have been experiencing and the ongoing threat that they are experiencing as families now. So our purpose with the kids is to give them something to enjoy for these 2 or 3 hours while their mothers are in a separate space doing this very important work with Narcisa. So I think my own particular intention in joining this group back in May was that I wanted the kids to feel that every Saturday they were going to a birthday party where they could have sweets and do crafts and enjoy each other and be doted on by us loving adults. And I think for their mothers to know that the kids are happy and doing well and really getting something for themselves during the time of waiting. Mixteca has imagined the children's table itself differently. It's had a number of different iterations over the years. Currently, our intention is not to provide trauma therapy per se to the kids. We don't delve into the traumas that the children have experienced, even though we do know some. We don't know very much. It's confidential, but we have a sense of some of the losses that they've experienced. But our formal intention at the children's table is to offer the kids experiences of safety and experiences of connection with each other, with us, and with Mixteca itself, and experiences where they can self-regulate. These are informed by the child trauma therapy. Some of the activities, very briefly, that we've done are making bracelets for themselves and to give as gifts. We made little lanterns with tea lights in jars that we decorated, and then they could have those as little night lights at home. We made stress balls where they filled balloons with flour and decorated them. And one of the kids gave one to her mother, and another child, Karen, gave hers to her teacher, which is very telling, I think. We read a story about the journey that monarch butterflies make from Mexico to the US, these little marvelous creatures who make this very long journey. And then we made butterflies and decorated them with sequins and glitter and made them into refrigerator magnets to remind them about their own resilience. We've made cards, friendship cards, and given them to each other. And we're making now a small mural that we're all working on together of clay figures. We were able to have a pretty regular attendance for a number of months with 5 or 6 children. Sometimes we would have as many as 12 children. And so we got to know them very well and really invest in them a lot, to the point that we were able to see some real changes in the kids in their ability to take risks with the materials and try out new things and stick with something if it was frustrating, not give up, to share with each other, and to, in fact, they started leading more what our activities were, which was really so nice. However, in recent weeks, there's been a huge drop in attendance. The mother of one family of 4 children dropped out without a word when she got a job. And we think that other families are maybe laying low because the ICE, the immigration police in the US, ICE is active in the neighborhood where Mixteca is, and people are sort of laying low. So we're not sure Mixteca itself will whether they will continue in-person services or take a pause. We're sort of going from week to week. So that's the context of the children's table. And so with that in mind, love you to hear some of our thoughts about what we've been receiving from this work. And I think Hanna will lead us out on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you both for those awesome intros. I'm going to jump right into my story, and what brought me to Mixteca. So initially, what brought me to this work was my feelings about the current administration, and Trump's election last year. And shortly after hearing how they would be targeting the powerless, I was feeling a lot of strong feelings like despair, misery, anguish, and anger. And I feel lucky to have been raised by an activist mom. So she and my grandfather took me to my first rally, my first political rally when I was 5 years old, and we sat in a ring around the Capitol of New York and chanted "Bigger, better, bottle bill." I don't know if anyone remembers something like that happening, but that was me. I was there. So yeah, and so that's stuck with me. And every time I attend a march or I stand up for what I believe in, I always underestimate the power of being in a group of like-minded people and the healing power that that can bring. So I knew that I had to use these big feelings to energize me and to not give in to fear. My mom always said, action is to stress as water is to fire. And I needed to get involved with people who would help me keep up the momentum and extinguish the stress. I had lived in New York City for almost 4 years at the time, and even having lived here for a little while, I still felt disconnected from my local community. And I had heard of Mixteca luckily through work. As Susan mentioned, I'm a middle school teacher. So I reached out to be a volunteer, and I think that was one of the best decisions that I had made in recent times. So now, almost a year after joining with them, I know the power of another phrase that I've been hearing since childhood, which is think globally, act locally. So a bit on that in this age of information, I felt stretched so thin by so many issues that equally deserve my attention, like genocide and civil war in Sudan and climate change and ICE raids in this country and anti-LGBTQ legislation. But I think with Mixteca, I found the importance of focusing on smaller things rather than, all these different issues that are so different but also very aligned. And Susan mentioned one of our children who was coming very regularly, Karen. And I'd like to talk a little bit about her. So she's 8 years old, and she's the oldest sister of four. And the family has just been through so much. So when she first started coming, she spent so much energy trying to make sure her younger siblings, who were also at the table, were okay and their needs were being met, and they were communicating their needs. And, there's a little bit of I don't speak any Spanish, and for some of these children, Spanish is their main language. So there's a little bit of a communication barrier. So I feel like seeing that in Karen, we all tried to insert ourselves as trustworthy caretakers to kind of take that pressure off of her. And try to orient her towards the things that as an 8-year-old she should be focusing on, which is like what beads to put in her bracelet. so it was wonderful to see this working a little bit in this small space and this moment every week, to see her relax into a child again. So yeah, so yeah, it felt like a relief to have this small act of service that connects me with other people in my immediate community, and a place where some of my skills are appreciated and seem to make a difference. And in return, collectively, the kids have given me some small gifts that I will carry with me, like simply express joy when they see me. The way confidence raises their voices when they're comfortable with me, the crafts that they make for me and for us, the pride in their eyes when they make something that they love. And when they get to practice skills like reading English and Spanish, that I know will make their lives easier and bring them joy. So for me, the goal has always been connection, but I'm also hoping that our work has a ripple effect through the community. And I won't say at times I don't feel despair or overwhelmed. But now I don't just sit at home and engage in temporarily self-soothing activities. I get to go out and into the community and extinguish the fire of my stress with water, healing water, like my mother taught me. So that's it for me. Yeah, that's my Mixteca story. So who, I don't know who's going next.
Adriana, would you?
Right.
Yeah, sure. That was beautiful, Hannah. Thank you. Um, okay, so I think the children's table is very meaningful, not only for the kids, but also for the three of us. And for me, I have received so much. And first of all, I think it has been a space of relaxation. Some of our crafts involve painting or doing something that required paying close attention to detail. And most of the times we participate in the crafts as well, Susan, Hannah, and me. So when we paint, for example, I feel like I reach a flow state because sometimes I feel so relaxed, and it's a form for me, kind of meditation. And the workshop has become a place where I can kind of reset. And also, it fosters community, not only with the children, but also it has created a bond between us volunteers and interns, between Susan, Hannah, Scarlett, that she couldn't be here today, unfortunately, but she's another volunteer that has been helping us with the workshop. And I think we have learned from each other's strengths and ways of caring, and I also think we complement each other well. Also, receiving trust has been the biggest gift. The children gradually began to seek me out, to share the stories, and to show their emotions also. Their trust reminded me of the responsibility and privilege of holding a safe space for a population facing uncertainty and fear. Another thing I have received is witnessing resilience. Now, every Saturday, I saw how children who have experienced fear and uncertainty still reach for connection through art, and their creativity became a form of resistance. And witnessing that has shaped my understanding of clinical work as well. I think this workshop serves as a symbol of community among the children as well, because we have the group for their mothers, but I think this space for the kids is really important as well. And yeah, I think it's a form of resistance in the context that we are right now here in New York City. And Also, I learned that safety is built together. Um, in my mind, I wanted to provide a safe space, but I learned that more than providing it is to create it, and the children are the ones that help build this space, this safe space with us. And their participation, their small acts of care, and their willingness to show up turned the workshop into a shared effort. And this way, we can create community. Also, I have received inspiration from beyond the workshop. Um, Visiting MoMA with Susan and seeing Ruth Asawa's sculptures expanded my understanding of how art can hold memory, identity, and healing. We did this, we visited the MoMA and to inspire ourselves, and this is where we got the idea of our last activity, of making like a mural and little figures made out of clay. And yeah, and those crafts are a reminder that our presence matters to them and how they respond to these activities. You can see it in their faces. It makes them really happy, and they feel safe when we are together, and they can connect with other children as well. So I think that's really important. Um, Also, it has strengthened my professional identity. This experience has shaped the kind of clinician that I want to become, someone who integrates cultural context and trauma-informed care into work with vulnerable youth. And for each workshop, we created like an outline of the activities that we had planned for that day. And those outlines are now part of Mixteca. So if someone ever needs to take our place, they'll understand the structure of what we do. And I think that's our footprint at Mixteca. So if we're not there one day, they have these outlines that are like maybe our memory of what we did at the children's table. That would be all. Thank you.
You.
Wow. Thank you both, Adriana and Hannah. It's such a pleasure to hear you both talking about what you've received. And Lynn, thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to the group for giving us this structure to really think about and share with each other what we've been receiving. I'm just so moved. It opened up even so many more ideas in my mind about what I've gotten also. I think the idea of building safety together, it's just so tremendously powerful. And I think that I do feel a part of that, which is so beautiful. I was going to say, before I heard them talking, that one of the main things I've received for myself is a feeling of connection, definitely a feeling of loving connection to the kids who I think about all week long. And as I've gotten to know them, I know what they like and each one's little differences. And then I see something and, oh, Angel would love that. Or Karen, oh, she would do this with that thing. So they've become such a part of my life and such an enrichment. Similarly with Adriana and Scarlett and Hannah. Hannah is my daughter-in-law. Is that fair to say? She's the longtime partner of my son Jacob. So more on that a little bit later, but getting the chance to connect to the other volunteers and in terms of building together, Adriana said, we've also looped in a number of the staff who join us regularly. Joss, Jair, Carolina, they love sitting at the table with the kids and with us too. So everyone kind of gets into that flow state that Adriana mentioned, which is so sweet. So for me, I get to know young people who are not just the children, but the young staff who are making lives for themselves in this kind of time and in this place. And it's such a pleasure, great pleasure. Um, and then back to Hannah and my son. This Sunset Park is their neighborhood, so I get to go to their neighborhood every week. I get to see so much more of Hannah than I would otherwise. And uh, Jacob was born in Guatemala. My some of the families that we work with are from Guatemala, some Mexico, other Latin American countries, but it just feels reminiscent of early times Jacob and I had together exploring and doing crafts and nutty things together. And it's just a wonderful coming of age in some way. So I think I might end on that note. There's much more, of course, but
Oh, wow. Thank you very, very much. That is so beautiful. Let's just take a minute to take that in and go back to my gallery view here. So now it's time for us to take all of this and see what it brings for us. So maybe we can take a moment and take a couple of breaths. Let all of these words sort of sink in, digesting. And then turning our attention to ourselves. What is the experience of giving? When is that giving indistinguishable from receiving, or including that receiving? And of course, we want to make room for any feelings that have come to you or thoughts as you've been listening this morning. So let's come back to our group. I was telling the pre-committee, Susan, and people who are setting up, how I love this group, because we know how to take whatever is there and sort of really feel into it and see what it means to us. So I'm very eager to hear from you and see what you've made of all of this, what it's brought for you.
Steph is raising her hand.
Hey, Steph.
Hey guys, I have to leave at 9, but I couldn't go without, can I speak to you, Hannah and Adriana?
Of course.
So my daughter has been doing this work for 10 years. She's the protection officer, refugee protection officer, and she works for a human rights organization. And I know the immense amount of love, dedication, passion, care, and I hear that in your voices, and it just brings me so much strength, because in my opinion, you're at the sharp end of the stick right now. You're supporting human rights, you're holding space for the rights of these children. And for me, being the mom of a daughter who has committed herself to this in some peril, right? For herself, I just know the importance of it. And I just want to honor both of you for what you do and just give you so much love and support. I just would love to hug you both right now. It just means the world to the world, what you do. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you so much for your words, Steph. Thank you.
That means a lot.
I wish you both all the best.
And good luck to your daughter too.
Thank you. She's doing quite well. She handles it very, very well, surprisingly. You know, yeah, thank you.
You're lit up, Susan. Do you have something?
Trying to get in here and
Yeah.
oh, I just thank the three of you. It is so moving and to everything that you've said. And for me, it's brought me present right here. I don't know that I can say too much, except I think too, it's the connection that becomes real. And it's hard to say who was, giving and receiving seem one, they do seem one act. I think it's a miracle what you all have done and are doing, and those lucky, lucky kids. I have grandchildren, that age, and they're coming to visit me. And as I was hearing everything, I thought, oh, I can try to create some of that atmosphere. They're going to stay with me and of, making together and being together in this such a listening, doing, I can't think of the words, but it's very different from old school. Anyway, that's some of what's come for me.
Rose is raising her hand.
Rosa. But let's give a moment to absorb, and then Rosa will speak. Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you, Katarina. Thank you, Hanna and Adriana and Susan. And thank you, Jim, for noticing. It is very, very moving overall. I want to comment on two things. One is just the beautiful coordination, collaboration, ease between the three of you, mutual appreciation. It was just lovely. And then Adriana, when you said something about how it was a surprise or a learning about safe space being something that is co-created with the children, and how their gestures of care for one another, how they contributed so much to this creation of the safe space. And it's such a paradox, right? Like, I mean, I'm seeing the initiative that the three of you are bringing, and then the co-creation, right? So it's yeah, that was just really, really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to thank you too for sharing and your work. And I was really, it reminds me a little bit of the work I did in a shelter where we were, and it was also volunteer for a while. And then actually they did a study and then some money came. So maybe something like that could come for you. We did a pilot study and then I could be hired as a consultant for a while. But anyhow, I was under art therapy. But we were providing, I was providing, I was alone for a while, a really like a space, a table for them to play and be safe and have fun, connect and be with their joy because they are confronted to so many hard stuff. And I remember being struck about that they wanted to do rainbows and they wanted to do heart and they, and they wanted to focus on the positive, on the joy, and remind themselves of that space that exists in all of us, in them, in spite of the environment where they were. Some of them were no home, domestic violence, women's shelters. This is, anyhow, so I'm so glad that I know there is some of that work out there. And there's one thing you said that really touched me really deeply. It's like they can relax into the child again. Oh my God, right? That's simple but essential. Relaxing into child again, the child again. So thank you for your work, and I really appreciate your I wish you'd be near me. I'll be happy to volunteer. I'm in the Boston area anyhow, but that's great. Thank you.
I was thinking when you said that, that's true for all of us, that when giving and receiving are the same thing, that I can relax into the child again. And that's so important for us to relax into the children that we are.
I was also very moved by each of your stories. I felt like I just wanted you to go on and on. It's like I couldn't get enough of your stories, each one of you. And it just reminds me of my earlier connection to children in my work. I worked in a shelter, domestic violence shelter too, in the very beginning of my social work therapy career. And this was 30 years ago, and I still see these paintings in my mind that the children did. So I'm very grateful to you coming here today and moving me, reminding me, and making me think about, are there ways I can get back to that place and give back?
I think it did that for me too, that feeling of, oh, are there ways that I could do something like that? What would be my version of giving in a way that's receiving?
If I could comment on that, a thought I had and something I was thinking of when I was initially looking to do volunteer work was mutual aid organizations. There are definitely, I'm sure, some in Boston and others in New York City, plenty in New York City. And it's fairly easy to find them, and they do all different things, and they're very hyper local. So they hopefully, if that's something you're looking for, is connection to the community, that's a way that you can get involved if you're looking for one.
Leslie want to speak.
First of all, thank you so much. This is really great. I could just picture it, from the way you described it, became very visual and I used to work a lot with children in psychiatry departments in the hospitals in New York City. And for me, one of the ways of receiving was that when I worked with children, I didn't have to be so smart. I didn't feel as judged and have to be so intellectual and say the right thing. And there was a freedom in being able to be with the children and to see that the presence, your emotional availability, that all of that is really what's important. And then to bring that to work with adults also, that can generalize. So I'm just being brought back 2 decades ago and the really great feeling of sitting at a table and making bracelets and talking, and that kind of experience that sometimes we might take for granted. It can be a very, very rare thing with the kids I worked with in neighborhoods in Brooklyn too, where just to relax and to just have a conversation and to be listened to. It's actually a very rare thing for many people. So thank you so much.
Ruth is raising her hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Gosh, I had so many words and now they're not quite here. But thank you very, very much for the topic and the presentations. It's unusual to be at a loss for words here, but it really touched me. There's a part of me that just wanted to come to Brooklyn and jump in as well. And I was thinking about Lynn's question about the giving and the receiving, and I remember my days as a Peace Corps volunteer, where I never really felt like I was a volunteer because they gave us a stipend, so I wasn't like total, but it was a long, long time ago, more than half a life ago, when I was in the 70s. And I had this feeling of it was receiving. I always felt like I was receiving way more than I gave. Just this is not so coherent, but one of the things that came for me first as I was listening to you was just how much vitality each of you had, the caring and the love and the aliveness, which I know I love my work, and when I do it not for money, just it's a different feeling, and I'm struggling with that because somehow I just feel like I have this license to be more creative, and there's something different. So that's something that that I'm looking at myself. So I'm really glad that y'all came and gave us this opportunity to see things in ourselves as well as to know what you're doing. The other thing that's coming for me is I heard one of you say, sorry, I was multitasking. I've been up almost 12 hours already and I'm just a little bit blown here. So I was in the kitchen and I was listening. Is one of you said that she doesn't speak Spanish and that a lot of the participants are Spanish speaking. And that's a reason that I've given myself that I don't do things that I would love to do here, because I live in a country where English is not one of the primary languages, and I don't speak
the two languages that most of the kids speak, which is either Arabic or Hebrew. So I just think I can't do it, and I haven't tried. And now I'm at an age where I'm pulling back with my work, and I do have more time, and I would love to be doing some of this kind of giving. So I'm curious if you could say, whoever's not doesn't speak Spanish and is being successful doing this, could say a little bit more about how that works. And I know with kids too, there's so much that's nonverbal, but yeah, it's scary for me to jump in when I don't speak very much.
I think both Susan and Hannah don't speak fluent Spanish. So how does it work?
Yeah.
Do you want to start, and I'll go after you?
Sure. Okay. Something that just came to mind for me is that I've become a lot more aware of how my body looks, how I'm interacting with them physically. Like when one of the kids started, he like didn't speak a word of English, nothing. And he was so playful. He just really wanted to play all the time. So we would just play. Like it didn't require words.
I get it.
That's,
Yeah.
and that, like facial expressions and being very enthusiastic um and then over time he learned more English, and our relationship has evolved a little bit. And yeah, so I think in a lot of cases, like if you have something else that you're doing in the moment, like playing or drawing, and also showing a genuine interest and wanting to learn their language too, and making them feel like they can be teachers, and their knowledge is important and useful, is something that I've found comfort in when I feel awkward or uncomfortable not speaking Spanish.
Thank you. That helps a lot.
I would maybe add to that too, that it's helpful to be with children, number one, and doing arts, because you can show, and and playfulness and facial expression so helpful. But I saw when Adriana joined our group, and she speaks fluently both English and Spanish, that they would struggle a little less with me and turn towards Adriana naturally. And some of their frustration with me just cut me to the core sometimes. It was very difficult. And difficult to be left out of some of those more intimate conversations that they were able to have with Adriana. And I would always say, "What did they say?" She would tell me. But it was so beautiful, on the other hand, to see how they did confide in her some of the stories, and they were okay with her letting me in on it too, or both of us, Hannah and me. So yeah, it was painful at times, I found, but worthwhile, obviously. And now we have this new thing we've been doing, bringing in a children's book, sometimes in Spanish, sometimes bilingual, sometimes in English, and then translating it. I'll bring in a translation if it's in English. I'll bring in a Spanish translation, or vice versa. And then the kids really want to read it in both English and Spanish. So that's been really and we're all readers. So we're all at a table. I mean, we're all listening, and it's really been revelation. Yeah, it's been, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That helps a lot.
I noticed that a lot of our comments were about early experiences, and I thought about that also, that early in my in my career. I worked in Mixteca and other neighborhoods with immigrant children, and I'm wondering, what about now when we look back at projects and things that we've done? What about in our lives now? I think all of us have the feeling of giving and receiving. I think about going to the coffee shop in the morning and just bantering with the barista. Or one morning I went and somebody had paid for my cappuccino and said, well, this is, pay it forward. And there was something so beautiful about that, the receiving and the look of delight on the person's face with my surprise that my cappuccino had been paid for. And I think that all of us experience these little moments, and maybe we don't pay attention to them, where giving and receiving are the same thing. Maybe that might be something for us to talk about in our breakout rooms. I think it's about time. But we're going to try to put Susan and Adriana and Hanna in 3 different breakout rooms so they can participate, and you can each have one of them. Well, not each, but some. Any last comments before we? I wondered, Yao, about your work with the families of incarcerated people. If there were moments when you felt connected, and Yao has just retired from a long career in very, very, very important work. I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, Yao. I just wondered if you had anything to say about that.
I'm so eager to get us into the breakout groups, and I do have some things that I do want to share, but I continue that right to this moment. I work with an organization dedicated to working with women and girls in West Harlem called COTA. The organization AFJ, Alliance of Families for Children, we've been working with the children with incarcerated parents and invoking all of the things that Adriana and Hannah Jane and Susan Mack have shared about what they're doing. Those are the things and you actually didn't even mention focusing, but I felt so much that the focusing attitude was in everything that you shared. And that's this juice. And again, gosh, let's get to the breakout groups. But the whole idea of giving and receiving, I was so excited about it. And just loving you, Susan, we go way back. We go way back, my sister. We go way back. So much blessings. But I was eager because Tonglen is an important Buddhist practice in terms of meditation, and it's about giving and receiving. So again, this is just wonderful. So thank you. Let's do breakout.
Okay. Yao is sending us off to our breakout rooms.
Anyone who does not want to be in a breakout room, just don't join it.
Welcome back, everybody. Yao is teasing me.
Oh la la. Quoi?
So we're very eager to hear how your breakout rooms were.
We made metaphorical friendship bracelets together around a table.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Wait, how do you do that, Liz?
by talking and looking at each other.
Yeah.
I was in with Liz and sharing some of our vulnerabilities as givers and receivers sometimes.
We
How
shared
awkward.
some things that we couldn't share when a recording was on, Lynn.
I see. I'll never know what they are.
Never, never, never.
You could probably guess.
They're gone.
Lynn knows me pretty well. She could probably guess. But yeah, it was helpful. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, we talked about the power dynamic that's happening most of the time. I don't know, a lot in the giving and receiving. How hard it can be from receiving, how fear-based, how suspicious we have learned, and for good reason. I mean, also, which makes the receiving difficult, because you wonder what's attached with that.
Oh,
If I
yeah.
take this, what is this person asking me to do, or what's going to happen to me? And of course, with the political climate right now and immigration, that's tough. Yeah. So it's really good to talk about that.
Yes, that's such an important thing. One time, many years ago, I did a workshop on receiving for people who give too much. That was anyway. And I had people focus on the experience, a wonderful experience of giving, and the words that went with it, which were feeling, powerful, feeling creative, feeling loved, and then an experience of receiving. And people talked about feeling vulnerable, feeling the child self, feeling anxious. And it really is very interesting how when we feel ourselves as receivers, the vulnerability that comes with that.
Yes, that's very poignant. I think these things can really go to a very deep place, sort of where we're made. Both giving sometimes, but much less, because that is an activity that you're deciding, you're kind of from your adult self or your integrated self maybe. But receiving sometimes can expose the need and the unmet need. And if somebody happens to like touch on something that's so needed, I know for me, sometimes it sort of breaks my heart if someone gives me something that I didn't realize I hadn't had, and how much I needed it. I can just be moved into a place of deep, almost sorrow, and also gratitude, but also knowing where you didn't receive it, and it comes all at once, and that can be like too deep, a place too deep for tears. I think that's Wordsworth, but it goes to that place. So
yeah.
Could I piggyback on that, Rachel, too? That being accepted for who you are, being accepted can make you be in touch with parts of yourself you wish weren't there. They're accepting you, parts of you that you aren't accepting yourself. And it can be very exposing and unpleasant and terrifying, but healing, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to share something, if I might. This isn't something that came up in our small group, which our small group was lovely, but more in response to this conversation about the vulnerability of receiving. Something that I learned from Christian Pankhurst, who does a lot of very deep Gestalt-oriented group coaching work in the Netherlands. I've introduced this practice a lot when I'm facilitating groups, and I've found it to be super helpful. So if somebody becomes very vulnerable and does a deep dive and receives a lot of support from the group, I've found that then asking if it would be okay to go around and have people say what they received from witnessing that person's vulnerability, it really helps to rebalance the experience in the group, and people can hear what a gift they offer to others, right? So it's like about this whole giving and receiving thing, like people start to feel like, oh, they didn't just receive all this from the group, but that their vulnerability actually offered something. And it can be a little tricky because when first asking, like, I have to be really clear to people that this is not to say more about that person. This is about to say, what did I receive, right? It's like kind of shifting the focus from the person who's kind of on the very loving hot seat, but still they've been the receivers to, okay, so we're not going to talk about them now. This is different. We're going to say, what did I receive from this girl? And so, yes, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. I just want to say I can feel that, how that would help somebody who has shared, and then that there can be that embarrassment or shame of, or I've taken so much I've taken up so much space, and then to hear how others are kind of with you. And I can feel how that would be so equalizing. That's a beautiful practice. Thank you, Rosa.
Agree. Thank you.
And then there is the fear in giving as well.
Yes. Mm.
Someone in my group, I forget who it was, so speak out if it was you. Someone was saying there's a difference between giving over helping. Like helping could be, more one-sided, and giving support to someone who like needs it, who is vulnerable. And maybe there's a little bit of a power difference in it, but giving feels less like giving, I guess, she was saying is more sharing and participating, and it's equal, and there's give and take involved in it, and I guess I was reading into like it's less condescending, and there's less.
Sorry, can I interrupt just a second? Somebody's typing and have their microphone open, and we can hear a lot of noise. So if you're typing, can you close your microphone? Sorry, Hanna, I didn't want to.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I guess that was all I had to say, but also thinking of my position as a white person helping brown children, there's the racial power that's involved in that. That's something I've had to be aware of. And I feel like this focus on what I'm getting and what I'm receiving from them and how they can help me is important to focus on.
Yeah, that's important.
Just to say, we did talk about racial complexities in our small group and about what it's like to look white and not be white, or not only be white. So thank you.
Well, thank you all so much. And this was a wonderful experience. And especially thank you, Susan and Hanna and Adriana. You've seeded a beautiful conversation. We could start all over again just with the complexities of the feelings of receiving. And maybe we should have another Help the Helpers reflection on that. See you later.
Great seeing you, Susan. Oh, I love you, dear. Love you. Thank you. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Hannah Jane. Yes.
Good seeing you, Yao.
Thank you. Absolutely, Rachel. Absolutely.
Be
God,
well.
love
Bye,
you all.
everybody.
Susan D in the house. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice to see you, Rachel.
Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Stay warm.
Good.
Every time you say that, Katerina, I feel like, oh yes. Susan, how
so
was it for you?
I was good. It was stirring. I'm very stirred up, but really wonderful to feel like responded to in such a beautiful way, received in such a beautiful way by your group, and then to hear Hanna and Adriana talking about what their experience has been like is just hugely moving to me. So thank you. Yeah, so it's good.
Yes. The whole thing, the three of you was such a good
Yeah.
triad.
Yeah, yeah.
The three of you. Yes.
All right. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.